It's Stevan Micic here. I'm here with a special guest, Bassett, three-time state champion now, and going for his fourth next year. You still have a year of high school, right?
Yeah, still got a year of high school, and actually, too, growing up, Pennsylvania State's, just to talk about that really quick, and to get into the state tier list here soon, and I'll have my case for Pennsylvania, but from 8 years old and on, I was able to win a state title. In my first 2 years trying, I didn't make states. Kerry Colott had 8 state titles, and then I tied him this past year.
There you go. Yeah, and Bo's also, for those you don't know freestyle-wise, he's a cadet world champion and U20 and junior world bronze medalist, right? Yeah, he's had a lot of success at such a young age. Something I think a lot of kids are doing super well right now is like competing and doing such a good job wrestling. And you've competed at the senior circuit as well, wrestling in world team trials this year, and just you're excelling very good and very rapidly. And then you just committed to the University of Iowa. You'll be going there, and not this year, next year. We're doing a special 50 states wrestling tier list. So we're going to be doing a tier list of all of the states in order from S tiers at the top. So S tiers, like, Bo, we're going to be doing like our top 5, like, ish states. That's where we're going to stick. Then, like, the A is, like, your next level of states, so maybe they're good. B is, like, the next underneath. And then the states, just to kind of, like, mix them in if not really sure, I just have it through regions. So there's, like, Midwest, so it's, like, Midwest, but it's, like, your iffy states. Yeah. East Coast mid, West Coast mid, South mid. So you kind of have all the regions, and then I've got like Hawaii and Alaska and like freezing aloha, because like unfortunately just being disconnected away from the continent's a little tough. So that's how we're doing it, and we're just doing it in alphabetical order. So guys, before we get into it, make sure you guys subscribe, like this video, and turn notification bells on so we can fly through these states with Bo. All right, so we're gonna start this order. So I think the first state's Alabama. Dude, I did this like by myself, Bo, and the thing that was crazy was Alabama, like, I heard a lot of people said that Alabama's was like kind of on the come up. So I don't know about that. I'm not sure if you know anything about Alabama.
Alabama, I feel like every year when you go to Fargo, I feel like that's the biggest event where people are from their state because they have to represent their state, their singlet. And I feel like every year Alabama's getting 1, 2, a couple finalists in there every year.
Well, I put them in like the South Mid last time, but I think they're actually one of the better Southern states. So I'm going to put them in B tier because they're still not like they're up and coming, but like compared to maybe like Louisiana, Mississippi, or like states that don't really have it, I think like Alabama probably, that was what I got the most, like everyone was on me about Alabama. So I'll put them in, let's put them in B tier. Let's put them in B tier.
We'll stick with B tier for Alabama.
Okay.
On the rise.
All right. Next, like I said, Alaska is going in freezing. They're, they got some guys, but it's just hard to compare. Next, Arizona.
I think Arizona's tough with Valiant out there. Mm-hmm. And I think they're feeding a lot of guys right now from high school into college. So I think that we'll be seeing those guys. They've got a good group, right around the same age going into the college scene now, and that are going to be at Fargo. So I think that Arizona, I think they're pretty tough.
I think A. I think A.
I'm thinking A. Yeah,
I think so too.
Go above B. Above
I think
Alabama.
so. I think A as well, because A just makes more sense. Like they've got a great what they're building. I also think they have good freestyle as well. Like whenever guys go out, Arizona always shows out well at Fargo.
100%. Guys come out of the woodwork from Arizona every year.
Dude, yeah. Next one's Arkansas.
Arkansas is tough. Again, the southern states are a little tricky.
They're so tricky. That's why I think like if whenever because there's 50 states, like if I don't know enough about those states, it's hard for me to give them that. Hey, it's like higher than that. That's why these other tiers are all kind of like C tier. Like everything else is a C tier basically. Like South Mid is like where I put that. That's just like C for South.
Yeah.
So
I'd have to agree with that one. Yeah, it's tough. A lot of the big events are East Coast or West Coast. There's not a huge events down south other than like your Virginia Beach stuff and your NHSCAs.
Exactly. And then at that point you're kind of getting like East Coast at that point. So
yeah, right. Yeah, they're just coming down.
Yeah. Okay. So now we got California, a big dog.
Oh, they're top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
California produces, they have great teams from 8U at VAC duels all the way through high school and the college too. So California S tier, I believe they're top 5.
Yeah, they are. And I think in my opinion, like having states that have a 1 class is kind of like an extra edge, regardless of if they got a 1 class system, I think they deserve to have that S tier. spot, or like maybe not S tier, at least A tier, because it's just, most states that to become a state champion and there's only one of them, I think it's pretty impressive. And California is such like the biggest state, most populated state, that they have a lot of output. So I wish they would have.
We got to get more colleges over there too.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Over on I know that there's the new Big Ten teams for other sports, Washington, Oregon, USC, those ones. But I think that we can get those teams like wrestling on the West Coast would be huge for states like California.
I'd like to see UCLA and USC get a program because now they're in the Big Ten. And I think there's going to be some influence. It might not be while you're in college, but if maybe toward the end of your career, there could be some stirrings of, hey, there's going to like open a program, and I think there's a market for it. Kids would be excited to be able to wrestle at those schools. So
for sure,
we got Colorado. I don't know.
You know what? I think they're pretty decent in Greco. I know from going to like schoolboy duels and junior duels and things like that. And I know that you've got the Olympic Training Center there, which would be a good RTC. I'm not sure how many guys would go there and train, but Colorado's another tough one. But I think that they definitely have their guys for sure.
I think we can give them B tier, but I don't know. Like, I think it's better than Alabama. So
yeah,
but it's probably like cut. Like, it's tough because you also have to look at like how kids go from like where they're coming from high school, then like how they produce in college. I think that's another important part. So I feel like Colorado. Like, I'm not really sure about how many guys, but having their also University of Northern Colorado and having some guys like wrestle there, and it's a solid program. So I'll put it in B tier above. Let's move it above Alabama.
I'm cool with B tier for Colorado.
All right. We got Connecticut. Some of these little ones we can move through, but is Connecticut decent? Do you know anything about that? It's the East Coast.
I think for me, to be honest with you, all the littler states up there, I kind of put together for some reason, just up in the Northeast, and so it's tough for me to kind of remember who's from which state up there. But I know that there's good wrestling for sure up in the Northeast.
Okay,
and I think to move through them, I would go B, C tier.
Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's move just to kind of like get through some of the small little ones. I'll just start moving some of these like East Coast like ones like Maine, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, like these schools. I think it's a little tough to just kind of group them, and it's not like it'd be different if it was like New York or Pennsylvania or something, or Jersey, but the rest it's kind of difficult. So I'm just gonna move some of these to that spot, just like Connecticut, Maine, Delaware, Rhode Island, just to the East Coast mid, just so we can kind of like get through it, and we don't have to. We're probably gonna both say the same exact thing. We've got Florida.
I like Florida, actually.
I do too.
I like Florida. I like Florida because I think that they're solid folk style. I think they're good at freestyle, and they're good at all three. I think all three styles. And I think, again, we were just talking about those Big Ten teams on the West Coast. Why can't we get some SEC teams?
ACC's starting to pull out, right? They're starting to get
SEC, all those schools. Yeah, I know, not in Florida, but around those southern states. But I think Florida's one of the best southern, if not the.
Yeah. I think. Do you think we should put them in A or B tier, in your opinion?
I'm gonna go A tier.
Okay, let's do it A. Let's move it behind Arizona. Because I think Arizona right now has just got better depth at the moment. And but like Florida, I mean they've got Lake Highland Prep. They had Brandon, Florida. When I was in high school and college, they were like one of the best teams in the country. So Florida's got it going on.
Yeah.
All right.
Lake Highland produces every year.
Yeah. All right. Another southern one that's pretty tough actually is Georgia.
Yeah. I know at Georgia, they got some hype too. Every year at Fargo, they've got hype. I'm on the Georgia train. I think that they do a great job. And again, they seem to always have a champ here, a champ there.
They do.
Every single year at tournaments like Fargo and Super 32. So
yeah,
that's tough. The Florida-Georgia debate is tough, but I would go A tier.
Yeah.
And I think you decide between.
Who do you think's okay? All right, dual meet, Bo. Who's winning right now, Florida or Georgia? What do you think's gonna win if they're like by better state?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I know that Florida's got Lake Highland. They got a ton of talent there. That's going into college and that will be there next year. I think with Georgia, you've got guys that are maybe more so spread out, and one of the states isn't going to like this. But I would probably, I would go Florida.
Okay. I think so too. Overall, it's a little more, I would say Florida too, but it's close. You can't go wrong, bro. Some people, there's going to be people always like, oh, like this is better than that, but hey, we don't know enough about it. We got our own wrestling careers to worry about.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Hawaii, like I said, I put him in the aloha tier. But hey, Hawaii is actually like it's a combat island. You know, they've got a lot of jiu-jitsu and stuff there, and like I don't know, the wrestling. It's cool to see them, you know, try to compete, but it's just not having that connection to competition nearby is very tough.
If you're wrestling anything, it's a long flight. It would be tough.
Yeah. Okay, Idaho.
Idaho. I think they're a little bit of an underdog. Idaho's always been tough at those state-based duels. I think that they represent well in the freestyle and Greco side of things. I'm not sure too much on folk style. It's tougher for them, I feel like, to get to the bigger events, but they send their guys, and I think they represent well always on the freestyle and Greco side of things. I would go probably B.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're, I mean, you know, Ridge Lovitz from Idaho, he just won a national championship, so Post Falls is pretty tough. Boise's got a good area. They have Suples there with Ivanov, however you say it.
Yep. I was out there. It's an awesome place.
Yeah, it's beautiful. They got, I mean, I think so. I think maybe not above, I'll put them kind of, B tier by Colorado, maybe above Alabama, but yeah, I think Idaho's good as they, you said, they wrestle well in freestyle and Greco, the Olympic styles. So, all right, Illinois.
I think Illinois is close to that top 5 range for me. I think, that's tough. That's really tough. A lot of talent comes out of Illinois, and then they kind of spread out once they get to college. Some stay in Illinois, some go here or there, but I would have to say that for me, that's close to an S tier. I think Illinois is close.
Yeah.
If they're not S, they're A for sure.
Yeah. So my opinion, I'm from Indiana, but I grew up where I'm from is in Northwest Indiana. It's a Chicago suburb. So growing up wrestling a lot of Illinois and Chicago kids all the time. So I understand how deep it is and how good they are at wrestling. And I also think how versatile, because a lot of these states, like I said earlier, it's important to look at how kids translate from high school to college, and I think Illinois has some of the best output besides maybe Pennsylvania and Jersey and Ohio. I think Illinois, Chicagoland area, just has guys knowing how to go get on the podium at NCAAs, go win a national title, go on to wrestle afterwards. So Chicago, I think that whole area kind of, I'm going to put it in the S tier, but it's probably towards the end of the S tier.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Yeah. Low S tier, but again, that's top 5-ish range. So.
Okay. So right now it's sitting at the second, but we still got some hammers coming. Yeah. Next, Indiana.
I think Indiana's very good. I know that they had you and they had Mendez,
yep.
I think. So I think right there alone,
yeah.
You're looking at almost A tier, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably A tier. And if people want to take it down, I don't know. I'd probably go A tier.
I'd say, yeah, Indiana's A. I wouldn't say it's not B, but it's definitely A, and it's not S.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it's A.
Yeah, it's A, and I think Indiana, it's up there right around Arizona right now. I think we do a really good job of translating into college. My area alone, we've got Jesse Mendez, me, Jason Sertzis, Angel Escobedo. We've got that all. And then Indianapolis has had Reese Humphrey and a lot of other good wrestlers come from Nick Lee's from down south of Evansville.
Chad Red, right?
Yeah, Chad Red as well.
Finals, I remember them.
So, Nick Lee, Chad Red. I mean, Indiana's tough. And, having it's in another bonus point is the one class. So I think for that, I'm gonna be a little biased on Indiana, but as I should, because of the one class, I think it is. It is an impressive thing to win a state title, and I think it's good. So I'll move it to A.
My high school team went there Crown Point tournament.
Yeah, the Carnahan. Yeah, you guys wrestled there.
Yeah, we did. It was awesome. Good competition. It was. I mean, it was no joke for sure. I mean, we're used to going to Ironman and Powerade, and we rolled into Indiana, and it was.
Dude,
it was good.
That's so funny because when I was a kid, our high school, it's a small one, and now it's you guys are getting. That tournament is getting guys all over the country to come wrestle, Pennsylvania, and I think a Florida school was there. This year was Lake Highland Prep was there. I was just my mind blown. I was this was just a regular tournament in our little small dual tournament season.
Yeah,
here you are, Bo.
It's
you and Jax are rolling up in there.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said it was tough. It was fun. We had a really good team, and I remember the team score being really, really close. I think we either barely won or we maybe even got second.
Who else was in there?
It was tough. It was good.
Teams.
I believe there was Brownsville was up there. I don't even know if that's an Indiana school. They might be Ohio. Brownsburg. Yeah. That's right. They were tough. They had a ton of good kids. I think most weights had multiple guys ranked in the country.
Yeah, Brownsburg actually won the team state title this year. They had like 7 or 8 state champs out of 14. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, they did well.
That's crazy.
All right, next up we got a state that's you're not there yet, but you will be, is Iowa.
Yes.
Let's hear what you got to say about Iowa.
I think Iowa's great. Obviously, I'll be going there, and I think that if it was like a state that represents wrestling, like they would definitely be S tier for sure. But you should see that state tournament, and I think that they support their wrestling for sure. There's no professional sports teams there, so they're all in on their high school sports, their college sports, and
it's very true.
I can't wait to wrestle at Carver, but
yeah,
I think that Iowa does a pretty good job. They've got talent that goes all over the country. I think they translate well to college. I don't know. I think that's tough. I think maybe low A tier for me. Just obviously, again, I'm a little bit biased.
No, I think so too. I mean, I would say it's up there with Indiana. I think what Iowa, it's like a lot of the kids, their school. I mean, here's the thing with Iowa is right now they're recruiting a lot of kids like you and kids that are from other places in the country that are really good. So I think like homegrown talent, I think is something Iowa might need to work on because a lot of their kids are just pretty much going to UNI, and Doug Schwab's doing a great job there too. But it's like compared to like like other states like Penn State can just get kids from Pennsylvania, or most states can get good kids from their schools. But I think Iowa, compared to what it used to be, but it's still an amazing state. I think, like you said, it would be S tier if it was based off of representation of the sport of wrestling easily. Yeah, so right. I'll give it an A tier because I think Iowa's great. I love Iowa. My mom's side of the family is actually from Iowa, so I actually used to like Iowa and go to the dual meets as a young kid too. So. I'll definitely put it in the A tier. I'll put it above Indiana because of that factor of where I guess when you think of Iowa wrestling. So
yeah, I mean you got Iowa State, and then Northern Iowa too now.
Yeah, and 3 great programs in Division I. So all right, we got Kansas. I don't know too much about Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Kansas. It's one of those southern-ish, Midwest states area. I guess it would be more southern down there. But
yeah.
Mississippi and things like that. I think Kansas is
probably C, I would say.
Probably C.
Yeah, I'll put them in Midwest because they are technically the Midwest.
They did have the NCAA championships, right? St. Louis.
Yeah, St. Louis. Or no, that's Missouri. That's Missouri. But they did have
Kansas City. Kansas City.
They had it in Kansas City 2 years ago,
right.
I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Kansas City, Kansas City, Missouri. It's on the border, so you're fine.
Yeah, it's all. Yeah.
Kentucky. I think they're also around the same, to be honest.
Yeah, Kentucky's tough. They got the Rainies, who are studs.
The Rainies are very good, yeah.
Yeah, they're extremely good. But other than that, it's kind of hard to, I don't know.
Yeah, Kentucky is like, Kentucky, the thing is, they don't have a lot of, like, the numbers aren't great, and then it's like, it kind of hurts them because I think there's, like, a couple classes in their state. Isn't there, like, a couple, like, I don't know, but, like, I don't, that's the thing that's tough about a lot of these states is that it's divided up a lot, but... somebody will probably tell me how many there are. Let's put it in the Midwest tier.
That's fair.
All right, Louisiana.
I actually, when I was growing up, I know a couple of guys who were originally in Louisiana and then went elsewhere to different states that were good talent, that were good guys. I don't know if you remember Jessaroga, but I almost feel like
wasn't that a kid who was really good and then he had to quit wrestling or something?
He was very good. Yeah, we were on the same world team. He got world bronze.
Wow.
Was a great wrestler. Worked extremely hard. Was a Seabolt guy, but again, I think he was in Louisiana before that. Decided to, I think, go to the Marines maybe, or he chose to do the military. I'm pretty sure. But I heard he's doing good things and
that's crazy.
I think there's a lot of guys from Louisiana. But I think that some of those states down there don't maybe hold the talent and they go elsewhere. Yeah. So it's hard to rank those type of states, but probably C, I think.
Yeah, maybe. No, they are. I know DC is from Louisiana too, which is crazy. But they don't stay there. They don't have any programs.
You used to have LSU.
Yeah, LSU used to have wrestling. That would be such a cool school to go to.
KJ went there, right?
Yeah, I think he did go there for a little bit. So. Or I don't know if he went there the whole year, all the years. But KJ did go to LSU, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so... I always forget about that.
Yeah.
Because he's been all over...
the team coach that year.
Yeah.
With me and Jess Roga, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right, Maryland. What about Maryland?
Maryland. Maryland's a state that they throw the chicken up there after their guys win Fargo.
What do they do?
I think so. So if their guy wins Fargo, I'm serious. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm pretty sure they throw this it's like this chicken thing, and they throw it on the stage, and they hold it up, and it's like this thing they do if they get a Fargo champ. It's definitely interesting. But the chicken comes out like once or twice every year, and I know they got some pretty good talent in Maryland. I think it would be probably B.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's B as well. I think Maryland, a lot of good kids. Kurt McHenry came from there. He was super good. Kyle Snyder's from there. Aaron Brooks is from there. Meyer Shapiro's from there.
Okay.
Helen's from there. They've got numbers. They do numbers. They're just not like it's more modern. So I definitely would give it higher up. Probably end of the A tier or a high B tier.
Yeah, you know what? I think after you name those names, it might be A.
Yeah, let's move it to A. Let's move it.
A.
Yeah, let's move it to A. I'll put it around there. It's just I don't know how well they do. As they have individuals that can represent well. That's sort of the same thing with Indiana, but Indiana, I think, and Arizona and Iowa, they have a little bit more depth than Maryland overall. Who could win in a dual meet for long? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So,
I did not know Snyder and Aaron Brooks were there.
Yeah, Snyder always used to wrestle because they're my age. I think Kyle's a year older than me, but then he took a year off, and then we graduated the same because he did the freestyles thing. And Jaden Cox is a year older, so I used to always watch them. They used to wrestle each other at Fargo all the time. It was Jaden Cox and Kyle Snyder always. So even in high school, they wrestled before the senior level.
That's
so
crazy.
Yeah. So I knew that Kyle was from Maryland, and I know Aaron Brooks is, I believe, too. So
I think that sounds right. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that, and I know Meyer is as well.
Okay. We said Michigan.
Michigan. I think Michigan's very tough. I think they got a lot of good clubs, a lot of good regions of good guys. I think for me, Michigan is probably A tier, and I think they represent well as on the college side of things as well. I think there's a lot of. I think you got Michigan State, Central Michigan with the Greco. I believe it's Central. Maybe it's
Northern, but Central also has
is
Division I.
Yeah, gotcha. So Central has good. College wrestling, and then Northern is kind of the Greco powerhouse. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I think they do a good job. I go A.
Yeah, I think A too. I put them in A. I think Michigan's got they got really good kids. A lot of guys that do well from Michigan. I wish that Michigan we recruited because I'm saying we as in I went to
right.
go blue, but I think in general, if they recruited more out of their backyard, because there's a lot of diamonds in the rough, there's a lot of gems that go up elsewhere and do really well and or get recruited to other places. But Michigan has got good. They also have 4 classes. I wish they had 1 or 2, because it just dilutes everything a little bit too much.
Right.
But DCC, they're a great school. The Paul Amin families from there, Miles, and
they got a lot of good international guys.
Malik.
Yeah, and that RTC and things.
Yeah, so I put him in A. All right, Minnesota.
Minnesota, they do well on the freestyle side of things for sure. I would almost go A tier for Minnesota. I think.
They used to be a lot stronger. I felt like. I feel. I don't know if they aren't as good anymore as they used to be, but because of Apple Valley, just what it was is
right.
Yeah.
So Apple Valley was Mark Hall and Stevenson.
Gable, Seth Gross and. But the thing that I think is crazy is so Gable's actually from my area, Northwest Indiana. He grew up in Maryville, and his brother Bobby won a state title at Maryville, and so Gable was probably a 7th grader or whatever when they moved to Minnesota. So they moved them to go to Apple Valley.
Yeah.
So they're actually originally Indiana kids. So didn't know if you knew that or not.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. I grew up.
I think there's a lot of that not stolen talent, but just talent that moved elsewhere.
Yeah, and same with Mark Hall. Mark Hall's from Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I remember wrestling. I started wrestling. I was 2nd grade or 3rd, and so my first year of wrestling, Gable, we did some little dual team where they combined up little kids clubs, and Gable was probably a kindergartner, and their dad was he's named after Dan Gable, and I was who's Dan Gable? I had no idea who he was, because it was I'm 9, I didn't know who that. Dan Gable was an old wrestler. He's an old head for me, I was who?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you named him after that. I was like, oh, cool. And
was
Gable
gonna be
also
good
was like
then.
100 pounds. He was huge in kindergarten. He was a giant.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like a little 45-pound kid at like 8, you know?
Yes. I saw Gable, he was in the, I was watching UFC, it's like embedded vlogs, and he was with Marab, and he's obviously getting ready for his title fight, but Gable was in there, and he was doing some boxing, and I don't know if he might be fighting, but
Yeah.
he's doing football, and he's fighting, and WWE does it all.
He
And,
does.
it's pretty awesome to see him.
He does do it all. I mean, I really do. I mean, it excites me, I think, for the sport and saying somebody for you, right? Like, you're somebody who's, a lot of people are excited to see come up through that. But I think also, like, for him on the other side of it, it's like trying to, like, kind of make a name for someone who, like, started wrestling regardless of what he goes. So I just hope he does really well, and regardless of, like, the decision making or whatever he does, I hope it'll help the wrestling community out. So because of his name,
100%.
So, all right, we got Mississippi. I'll move that to I don't know anything about it. I'll put it in the South.
Mississippi's tough.
Are they?
No, I think it's tough to rank.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah. That came off. I think that,
Mississippi. I was like, you're like Mississippi's tough. I was like, is it?
yeah, no.
Mississippi people are gonna
maybe
be
they are.
watching
It's just tough to a lot of guys from down there. Probably are in Mississippi, might train elsewhere or might compete elsewhere. I think I'm pretty sure someone said like they might not even have a state tournament. I think it's one of those things. There's not a lot of wrestling down there. I feel like.
Yeah. Next one's gonna be Missouri.
Missouri's good. I know Lillidahl was from there before he went over to SEM.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was Missouri before that. I think that they're good. I think they get points because they have the college and they're on the rise.
Mizzou is a sleeper, right? Well, they develop their guys so well. I think that go there and nobody thinks about it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how many of those guys are from, in-state, in-house, but I think Mizzou is definitely a tough state, and they have good guys every single year, all levels, I feel like.
They're great. I'm excited for my buddy Seth Mendoza to go to Mizzou. He's from the same kids club,
Been wrestling with him, since I can remember. We wrestled who's number 1, Super 32, everywhere. He's a great opponent.
Yeah.
Now we separated in weight a little bit.
Yeah, he's a great kid, too.
He's great. Yeah, he's doing awesome.
I think we said Missouri was B. All right, Montana.
Montana's hard to rank, I feel like. Montana's a pretty big state, and it's really, I feel like it's low population.
Yeah, I think it's
And I'm trying to think of, some guys that came from Montana, and it's tough to...
I know a couple people, but it's not enough to be convincing that it's better than C tier. So I'll put it in the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
All right. Also, I think Nevada. What do you get about Nevada?
I think Nevada's not too bad. I think they've got their guys for sure. They've got certain teams that do well. Obviously, you have the Open there in Las Vegas. I think that Nevada... It's tough. That's probably close between C, maybe B. I think for Nevada.
Yep. I'll put them toward that. I was at that Gold Rush Wrestling. Chase Panties.
Gold Rush does well.
Really impressed. I think they're gonna have some good kids that are going D1. They're gonna make some noise in the next couple of years. So
yeah, I think there's some guys that came to Powerade from Nevada.
I just don't know their high schools too well.
So. Yeah. No. Are you going B tier with them?
I put them B tier. Yep, I put them B tier. I put them between Colorado and Idaho, so we're around that. Nebraska.
I think they do good. I think they do well. Obviously, their college is jumping levels.
Yep, I like what they're doing.
They produce guys and they keep them in state too. I feel like pretty well. I mean, there's a lot of good talent there. I'd probably go A.
Yeah, let's put them. Let's put them A. I mean, they're up there. I mean, Minnesota, it's probably somewhere around that level, I think. Michigan, Minnesota. Yeah, I think Nebraska's up there somewhere.
For sure.
Right, so New Hampshire, move that to the East Coast one. I missed that one. All right, here we got a big one. We got New Jersey.
Jersey's for sure S.
Yeah.
It's a small state.
I think because of that, and they're a one-class state, I think they're ahead of California. I just think...
I think New Jersey has got a get the respect that they earn. I mean, that's such a small state with so much talent.
Yeah.
And they've got a ton of guys at the college level, ton at the high school level, and then a ton in the youth too.
Yeah,
they do a great job.
They have success at every level.
Yes.
You know, I think I might be the most impressed with New Jersey when it comes to like senior guys wrestling on the senior level, and you look at what state. Pennsylvania, obviously, but like I think New Jersey might they always got guys that you're just like, dang, you know, like always. So I always
was JB Jersey?
Yeah, so was Frank Molinaro.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Suriano.
Nick Suriano. You got him. You got just there's so many good wrestlers. I feel like that come from New Jersey that do well, not just like national, but they can compete on the senior circuit. So.
Yeah, and then you got Princeton. Is Princeton in Jersey? I think so.
Yeah, Princeton is, Rutgers, and Rider. They get a lot of spillover from the East Coast places. They all go to New Jersey. So, yeah, that's simple. All right, New Mexico. I don't know too much. I know Albuquerque's got some wrestling, but...
Yeah, I know a couple of youth guys that have come to camps from New Mexico. That they're just awesome people. But New Mexico's one of those states that's tough, because I feel like it's so far, so you don't see a lot of those guys competing at some of the biggest events. But I would probably go C for New Mexico.
Yeah, I put them West Coast mid above Montana. So
yeah, I would go there.
All right, New York.
New York, I think New York does well. I know that they have, obviously, I'm pretty sure PJ Duke's there.
Yeah.
And then they had someone else. Is Yanni New York?
Yeah, Yanni and Vito are both New York.
Yeah, and Vito.
Ja'Cory Teemer's New York.
3 guys, Final X.
Yeah. Tell me about that. How do you think that's gonna with PJ Duke? I mean, he's your age or maybe a year older than you.
Yeah.
How do you think that's gonna go with him and Yanni? Like that's kind of be one of the biggest matchups, I would say, in my opinion. Or I think one of the most exciting matchups besides Vito wrestling against Jax, your teammate, and then you've got 2 New Yorkers wrestling each other, which is one's like the present and Yanni, and you've got the other one who's like the future. So
right, I'm excited for that. I think that's 2 completely different styles. I've wrestled with both of them. Yanni came down and wrestled with our guys during the recruiting process, and he came down. I believe he came down with Coach Gray once. He came down. Maybe more than once, and I've been able to wrestle with him, just spar with him. He's awesome. I mean, even in just one session with him, you learn so much, and watching him. And then PJ, I've wrestled alongside him on the same team, competed, against my whole life, and we're only like 1 year apart. We might even be the same birth year. And PJ is unbelievable, like unreal what he's doing at the senior level. I know that they probably have trained. I feel like they've had to, being from the same state. And I know that there was the one picture that was a throwback where PJ was really young and Yanni was maybe in high school. And it's crazy how that all comes full circle. But hey, I could see it going either way. And I like both of the guys on the mat. Yeah. I like them both.
I really like PJ too. Yanni's one of my really good friends. Got to training over the years with him, and we're both we talk pretty often. I'm excited. I think this is I really just excited to see his career, because I know, being a world silver medalist and then not, having the weight cut and being, not being his best 65 just hasn't been the last probably 2 years haven't been his best friend by any means. So I do think this is going to be a really big year. But I think PJ is, a guy that he's got nothing to lose, and I'm excited to just watch it. But I do think if Yanni wins this thing, I think he's going to have a really good world tournament. So, regardless, I don't think it's just going to be an awesome match. There's going to be some fireworks, and I'm excited.
I think he looks better than ever at 70 right now.
I think so too. I think, he kind of looks more controlled than he has before, and, using his wrestling to his advantage again. And not, I felt like when he was cutting weight a little bit, he didn't look like himself always. So, and I can attest to that, of being somebody who's had to cut a lot of weight to make weight. So sometimes it's hit or miss, right? And, so we'll see. So I'll put New York. Let's put New York in A tier. I think maybe lower A tier, but I think they're still up there.
I would agree. Yeah.
Maybe the middle of the pack. Let's move it here. Okay. North Carolina, maybe mid tier. I would say C maybe, but I don't know. Do you know much about North Carolina?
I know that they have a couple of divisions for their state, for the state tournament. I think, I would have to say that. I'd have to go C tier as well. I think that it's tough. I think, again, a lot of guys that are the best in some of those states go elsewhere.
Yep.
And that really hinders those states.
Yep. All right, let's do the Dakotas together, North and South Dakota. I would say they're probably around the same. I don't know too much difference.
Yeah, South Dakota State's been doing a good job with their college scene. I think they've been doing well, producing good guys, good teams. As far as high school level talent, I think that they have guys who come out of there every year that are pretty solid. When you put them together, I feel like that raises them up.
Just Dakota.
Yeah, just Dakota. Just one big Dakota. I would say probably B tier for Dakota.
Okay, Dakota B tier and just them together. I'll move them to the C as a separate, but if you do them together, it could be B.
Yes.
So
if they're together, yes.
Okay. All right, we got Ohio. I'm interested to hear Ohio because I think it's a top one, but where on the S tier?
I do too. I think Ohio, I think it's non-negotiable. Top 5 S tier, but
where do you rank it?
Like California and New Jersey right now.
You think it's better than both of those or worse?
So we have Jersey at the top right now.
Then
over California.
Yeah, then it's Jersey, Cali, Illinois.
I don't think you put Ohio over. I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. I would say that in the end, they won't be the number 1 team, but I think you might have to put them at 1 now.
Really? You could see them over Jersey right now?
I just think that... Do I? That's tough. That's really tough. It could honestly be a tie. You could put them both at second, but I think that they've got a lot of the good talent in high school. They've got a lot of great... they've got Ohio State. They've got Rudis that's in Ohio. And...
Yeah,
and also I have to say they're for sure top 2.
Their history as well. They have like St. Ed's is one of the best high schools ever. So that's like kind of goes for them. They're three classes, but I don't think it really they're kind of one of those that doesn't. I don't think it really changes anything. I agree with that. I think, and I'm going to be a little more biased towards the Midwest. I definitely think Ohio has that I just like their their output. In college as well. I think they produce so many good names. I mean, you were young, but St. Ed's had a thing where it was like my college teammate, Dom Abinator, he was the last St. Ed's wrestler. It was every year St. Ed's had an NCAA All-American for 34 years, and Dom was, in 2019, was the last one before that streak ended. Dean Heil went there, Dom Abinator,
St. Paris Graham as well.
St. Paris Graham's there, yep.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I don't know. Jersey and Ohio is really tough comparison and conversation to have because Jersey's smaller-ish, and they both got good college. They both got good high school talent. They both keep producing. I'll let you decide between Jersey and Ohio.
I'll put Ohio. You said 2. I said 2 as well. I think so. Okay. So I put it at 2. All right, we got a couple more left. So we got
the big P one's coming, Pennsylvania.
It's coming. It's not there yet. We got 2 more.
Not yet.
All right. Oklahoma.
I
think B.
They do a good job. I think they have a lot of good talent. They keep a lot in house too.
They do.
Stillwater.
Yeah.
So much.
They're A. They're A. Yeah. They've got such a good history. Their colleges, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. Right now you've had Dayton Fix comes from there. So many good wrestlers are from Oklahoma. I think Cade Brock, D. Lockett.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then the history too with Oklahoma State. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I think they're A.
Hall of Fame's there too.
Yep. They're great. The Hall of Fame's there. All right, Oregon. I think
I don't know too much about.
Yeah, Oregon. Let's go. I'm gonna go West. Oregon's West Coast mid, but I'll give them up there because they got some. There's some decent wrestlers.
They got Rodmacher who made the team this year. He was on the team last year. Oregon State. Yeah. I you know what? I do know a little bit about Oregon. I think they're solid. All
right, let's. You know what number 1 is? Starts with a P, and you're living in it right now. So Pennsylvania.
I'll speak on Pennsylvania a little bit. I just think if you go to the 8 and under state tournament, and you don't come out and say that's the toughest wrestling state, it would be hard it would be hard to walk in there and say it's not after watching those kids at that young age. It's like the NCAAs for them. Like, it's insane. And
the level they're wrestling too.
Yeah, I mean, these kids, they learn to wrestle with the pressure from that young age. And I feel like then they translate so well in the big events and in college because that's what it's been like since they were young. It's an awesome place to wrestle. You could go to a local tournament and get 4 guys that are ranked in the country. In your
you don't have to travel much. You just got, because everybody's going somewhere to win a tournament, and you can feel that. It's like the Dagestan of America.
Right, is you can go. There's countless clubs, countless awesome coaches across the state, and there's just so many opportunities to be good in Pennsylvania. I think you've got Penn State, they've been the team my whole life for the most part. So I just think that Pennsylvania represents college level. They represent high school for sure, and then translate all the way through
senior too. Yeah, no, I that's it's easy number one, hands down. It's like the Dagestan of America.
Yeah.
So
that's fair, yeah. And then you got certain pockets that are just crazy with talent.
Yep. All right, yeah, Pennsylvania. Enough said. You did your piece, and but we got it. It's number one, and I agree. So next we got just a couple states left. So we've got South Carolina. And we'll do that in North Carolina. I mean, all right, we did North Carolina. South Carolina, I think they're also probably South mid. They're not as good as North Carolina, and they don't have any Division I programs.
Right.
So,
right, yeah, it's tough. If you put them together, maybe they'd be bumped up a little bit, but individually, it's tough to rank them higher than C.
Yep. So I think now I think Tennessee. I don't know much about them. Probably move them to, are they Midwest? Yeah, I guess. South, kind of.
Yeah.
Texas. That's an interesting one.
Texas. This is weird. This is crazy. When I was growing up, we would do like Wildwood duels, VAC duels, things like that. And there was this team, Texas Dynamite. And they were good. Like,
I've heard of them before.
They'd be gold pool. Yeah, they were legit. I'm not totally convinced that everybody was from Texas, maybe. But it's kind of like, and this isn't a shot at them, but as I got older, it was like they went away, and I'm like, well, where's Texas Dynamite? Maybe they're California guys and this state and a couple Texas kids, but they had some teams growing up, middle school, elementary, that were dogs. And I think Texas, they produce their guys for sure, and that's a big state, so they got a lot of kids.
Let's put them at the top of B because they're kind of like on the upcoming.
Yeah, I would say so.
But like they're not, in like 5 or so years, I think they'll be a very good team. 5 to 10, they're going to be like a very good state. They're going to be awesome. Yeah. So, yes. All right, Vermont was that East?
Actually, running 2 camps in Texas.
There you go.
They got a lot of kids there. I tell you what.
They have numbers, so they love the sport. It's just this youth stuff's growing for them. So.
And Noel's out there now, I think, running a club, so that's cool.
Yeah, yep. Andy Rovat's down there running. He's helping Texas Wrestling out a lot. So they're doing well. Utah, I think they're kind of, besides Kale, like Kale Sanderson, the Sanderson family. I don't know if Utah is like the place anymore. I don't know really if they're still good or how they. I don't think they're great. They got a couple dudes here and there, but.
The Sandersons are big for them for sure, but I believe that Bear Claw came from Utah. Penn State will get 1 or 2 guys every couple of years from Utah that comes over. That I think goes to like Sanderson Wrestling Academy in Utah, but I think that they have good guys, but it's tough to rank them super high.
Okay, 5 left. Virginia. So here's what I know about this because I have some friends that are like Virginia's like pretty solid, but they have a lot of classes. There's like 7 state champs in Virginia.
7?
I think 7. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's tough. That takes them down. I feel like a little bit.
It waters it out a lot, and it's they don't get to compete the same way, and I don't think they do well transitioning because of that. It's hard to get recruited unless you're like doing national competitions. So it really hurts them, but it's still...
One thing they do have
What's
is
that?
Virginia Beach type stuff. That's one thing they do got, you know, the NHSCAs and things like that. So that gives them a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I
they got a
think
lot of
they're
wrestling talent that goes there, for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and it's in a hub. Like, I mean, you've got Maryland, you've got you know, like DC, Maryland, that whole area. So you know, I think you got to give. I think we'll give them B. You know, they're maybe better than Alabama and Idaho, but
Yeah,
I think they're just like, you know, we're kind of judging them as if they should be like an A state, but they're not. So, all right, Washington. Spokane, Seattle, like Spokane maybe has a little more because it's close to that Idaho area, but Washington isn't too well known either. I have to go the C tier.
Yeah.
All right, West Virginia. Anything about West Virginia? It's close to Pennsylvania, right?
It is. So we get a lot of their guys that will come up and train or will come over to wrestle competition. I think West Virginia definitely has good guys. It's a smaller state, so...
Is it better than Virginia or no? Probably not.
I would say probably not. Probably not. I think it's like a little bit smaller, and a lot of the West Virginia kids maybe go to high school in Virginia or Western Pennsylvania. But I think they have their guys.
Okay, cool. And then we've got two left. We got Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin is upper B or high A. You know, they've got I don't know how much you know about Wisconsin.
I'm gonna go A.
Okay.
I'm gonna go A.
Yeah, they've got the whole Askren Academy. I think Wisconsin's up there. So
yes.
Let's put them up here. Somewhere in this lower end of compared to the Midwest, but they're still a Midwest state. And then last is Wyoming. I don't know too much. Yeah.
Wyoming.
Yeah, West Coast mid for me, C tier. It's hard.
Right, and I think the biggest thing with these West Coast states, Washington, Oregon, Wyoming, Colorado, all those ones, it's tough because, you know, they're so far out there. There's not a lot of big competitions, and there's not a lot of big colleges, right? You got Oregon State and things like that, but we got to get more teams out there, I think. And I think that you'll see those states just improve like fast.
Yeah, for sure. So that's it for the tier list. We got all 50. I think we're sitting pretty good. Top fives: Pennsylvania, Ohio, New Jersey, California, and Illinois. And then that's your S tier. And I agree with that. I think those are your top five that should stay in it. And then the A tiers are really good states too, and, you know, more of an individual. And so, yeah, I agree with our picks. I like them.
Yeah, I like where we're sitting. I think that the top five are pretty accurate.
Cool.
I would definitely say that there's states that could bump into that top five in the next couple of years for sure. Yeah. But I like where we're sitting right now.
Good. Well, thanks for doing this tier list with me, Bo. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, and I'm excited to keep watching you and watching YouTube videos as always. I appreciate it for having me on. And
thanks, bro.
Hope to be back soon.
Yeah, dude. Well, like I said, you're always welcome to come train. You know, meet my dad is he likes your wrestling a lot, and, you know, he's always like, hey, I think I can help Bo out if you're this summer, especially you know, if you're going to be going to Fargo, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll be wrestling at Fargo, and you know, regardless, you maybe have a little bit more of the once that's finished. If you'd like to come out and get some workout, because Fargo's only like a month away, so it's coming up quick. But, you know, maybe after, you know, later this summer, August or something like that.
Yeah.
If you'd love to come out and work out, it'd be
awesome.
great.